Okay, so like I said, I'm going to start the presentation with user management in PCSE Online. So it is really important to make sure that you have all the correct users set up properly at the practice. Now, in order to assign PCSE Online roles, you first need to make sure that you've got your user administrators set up correctly at the practice. Now, as a user administrator, their sole responsibility is to ensure that other people at the practice have got the roles assigned. Now, as a user administrator, that is their sole job. Now, if you need to be able to assign yourself a role, then that's absolutely fine. You can do that as a user administrator, but it's also your responsibility to make sure that other people at the practice have got the roles needed to do the various tasks in PCSE Online. Now, at GP practices, there are 3 different user administrators. So for payments and pensions related jobs, we've got the GPP Practice User Administrator. Anything performer list related is the PL Organisation User Administrator. And then you've also got a main contact. Now, the main contact is more for supplies and medical records, which I'm not going to be discussing on this webinar. However, I will briefly touch on it just so you can understand the difference between each user administrator. Now, within a practice, you can have 4 of each user administrator, but that only applies to the payments and pensions user administrator and the performer list user administrator. You can only have the 1 main contact. So 4 of each of the others and 1 main contact. I am going to go through this in a little bit more detail on the next slide, so just to explain what each user administrator can do. However, if you're not sure who your user administrator is at the practice, you can contact PCSE at the email address that's on screen. So it's pcse.portalenquiries@nhs.net if you do need to contact us to find out who your user administrators are. Okay, so I just wanted to show you this slide just to give you a little bit of a visual on how the user management works in PCSE Online. So as you can see, each area has been split out separately. So you've got supplies and logistics, you've got the performer list services, and then you've got GP pensions and payments. Now, the user administrator for each area can only assign roles responsible or that link to that service. So the main contact user administrator will only be able to assign roles related to supplies and logistics. So that will be giving roles for people to order supplies or roles for people to manage the movement of medical records at the practice. So say, for example, if you've got somebody at the practice that needs the PL practice manager role, so they can go in and approve and review and check any employment changes that come through, the main contact will not be able to assign that role. It has to be the performer list organisation user administrator that does that. Hence why we've shown it on screen separately. So under each pink box, that's the roles that they can assign out. I know we did get some confusion from the last webinar that I held that people weren't able to assign certain roles, and we think that this is the reason why. So if you're the GPP Practice User Management Administrator, you can only assign roles that are related to pensions and payments, same as the performer list. So if you're the PL Organisation User Administrator, you won't be able to assign anybody any pensions roles. So just have that in mind if you are trying to give roles out to somebody, or if you need a role yourself, you need to make sure that you're linking in with the correct user administrator. Now, say for example, if you're the user administrator for payments and pensions, so you've got the GPP Practice User Management role, then you need to assign a performer role, then you can also assign yourself to be a user administrator if you need to. And then once you've got that role, you'll then be able to assign the relevant roles for the performance role. I hope that's clear to understand. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the roles just one more time, just to try and keep them relevant to the webinar, because I do appreciate there was quite a few roles on that last slide that I just went through. So this is for performer list. So the PL Organisation User Administrator. Now that role is the only job that you can do with that is assign PL Practice Manager role. So if you need to assign anybody the role to review and accept any performer list changes, you need to assign them the PL Practice Manager role. Now with that role, all they can do is review, approve and reject any performer list changes. Looking at the pension side of things then, That's the user administrator for payments and pensions. And again, if you need anybody to have the joiners and leavers role, it'll be the practice user management user admin role that we'll need to assign the joiners and leavers role. Now, with the joiners and leavers role, you'll be able to submit GP pension joiner and leaver forms. Without that role, you're not going to be able to do that. And the same with the practice estimates and salary change role. If you have that role, that will enable you to submit practice estimates and salary change forms. Okay, so I'm now going to have a look at creating users in PCSE Online. Now, you will only be able to do this if you are the user administrator. So if you've just got a standard role, so if you're just the PL practice manager, you won't see this side of things in PCSE Online. This is just for the user managers, okay? So when you first need to create a new user, you'll need to sign into your PCSE Online account. And once you have logged into your account as a user administrator, you'll need to select the user management tab just at the top, as that's shown in the blue banner highlighted in green, and then head over to where it says create user. Once you click that, you will be prompted by a box that pops up, basically asking if you're including a GP to PCSE Online. Now, at this point, you can select no, because you are going to be adding a member of staff to the practice. Now, once you've selected no, it will just bring you to the create new user screen. Now, as you can see, everything will be blank in this area, apart from the area in grey where it says the requester's email. Now, that will be your email address in that box because you're the one that's creating the new account for somebody. Now, if you do need to create a new user, you'll just simply go in and enter all the details that you can. So it'll ask for the title, the first name, surname, telephone number, things like that. Now, it also asks for the email address. Once you put that email address in there, that will be that user's new username. Okay, so just make sure that it's an email address that they've always got access to. Okay, then what you'll need to do is assign roles. So you'll need to enter the organisation code just there at the bottom. And then once you do that, it will give a list of all the roles that are available to that user, which will just pop up as shown on screen. Now, we just ask that you try not to assign every single role, just assign them the roles that you are going to need for the jobs that they're doing. Now, once you have found the role that you want to assign your user, so for this example, we are assigning the PL practice manager role, you simply just tick the box and then select create, and that will have then created your new user. Now, once you've done that, your new user will receive a verification email to verify their email address, and then they'll be able to log in and create a secure password. However, just please be aware that the verification link that they receive will expire after 72 hours. Now, if they can't find the verification email, we just recommend that they check their junk or the spam folder within their emails. And if they do miss the verification window, then they can request a new link via that original email. Okay, so it's not gone forever, they just need to request a new one. Okay, so that was creating users in PCSE Online. Now, it may be that you need to edit a current user that's already got a PCSE Online account. So it may be if they've changed the details, or you need to add some roles, or you may have somebody that's joining your practice that's worked at a previous practice and they've already been on PCSE Online, and you just need to make sure that they're linked to your organisation and they've got all the correct permissions. So again, you just log into your PCSE Online account and select the user management at the top. Now, at this point, because they've already got an active PCSE Online account, you'll just need to enter the search criteria just so you can find that user in PCSE Online. Now, just for this example, I've just put test. That's where you would put the name or the username. And then once you're happy with the details that you want to search for, you can click apply. And then what that will do is display your chosen user details. So as you can see here, it's picked up test. That's their username. It'll have the surname and the first name. It will also show you the details of when they last logged on and whether they've got any bad password counts. Then it'll also let you know whether their account's been deactivated or not. Now, at this point, you'll want to edit your user. So as you can see on the right of the screen, it says edit user. You'll just simply tick that blue word in, and that will then open up the page which will show all the current details that we've got in PCSE Online for that user. Now, at this point, you can edit anything that's in blue. So if you need to change the name or the surname and any phone numbers, anything like that, this is where you'll need to do it. Now, if you scroll down further down the screen, this is where you'll see all the roles that they've currently got assigned to them. So say, for example, you've got a user that has too many roles. This is where you can then go in and remove them so they don't see any unnecessary work in their queues. Or if they need to start doing a job, so say like, for example, you want them to pick up joiners and leavers, you want them to be able to submit forms, you can then go in there and select the correct role that they need so they can then start seeing the work in their queue. This is also an area that you'll use where you have deactivated a user. I am going to go into that in a little bit more detail further on down the slides, but just while I'm on this screen, I just wanted to show you. So if you have got a user that's been deactivated, say like they were on long-term sick or something like that, and you remove the access, this is the screen that you'll use when you need to reactivate your user. You'll just search for them, re-add the roles, click update, and then it will reactivate that user in PCSE Online. Now, once you're happy with the roles and any edits that you've made, you'll just simply select update, and that will update your user. Now, again, just please only assign roles that they do need. And we have had some organisations that have given out too many roles, and it just makes it's just unnecessary, and it can cause a little bit of confusion to the user because they'll find a lot of work in their queues that they won't be able to action. So just assign roles that they need. And just to let you know, sometimes there is a 2-hour window of new roles being activated in PCSE Online. So if you have a user that you've just given the joiners and leavers role to, but when they log in, they don't see the tile and they don't have the options to complete that work, it can take up to 2 hours for that to show through. So don't panic straight away. It can just take a little bit of time. Sometimes it can be 10 minutes, but like I say, it can just take a bit longer. So just have that in mind before picking up the phone, wondering why nothing's come through to them. Okay, so you also have the option to view all users that have accounts at your organisation, and it's really good practice, to be honest, just to go in and check this regularly, especially if you work at a big organisation where you may have high staff turnover at your practice. It basically just ensures that you've only got users at the practice with active accounts, and if anybody leaves and if they've not deactivated them, you'll be able to catch this here and remove the access as soon as possible. So I'll just quickly show you how to view all your users then. So again, from the user management home screen, once you have logged into your PCSE Online account, if you simply just move your mouse down to where it says My Organisation Only and select that box and then click Apply, what that will do is bring up a list of all the users that you've got in PCSE Online. It will also show all the accounts that are deactivated. Now, I know we did get some feedback and some comments from the last webinar that we did that we didn't want people to have that, but unfortunately, that's how the system's built. And if, for example, you do need to reactivate a user, this is where you can do it. So you do have an audit history of everyone that's been linked to the practice at some point. So within this area, if you see a user that is active and no longer works at your organisation, which you need to deactivate, I will show you that later on. But from this page, you also have the option to edit any users. So you can add roles and change any details, as I've previously mentioned. So if you do need to do that, you can just have a look and it'll show the username, it shows the surname, first name, and again, all the details as it would do looking at to edit a simple user. Head over to edit user, and then it will just show you all the steps what I've previously shown you. So it'll pull up all the details that we've currently got, and then it'll give the option further down to add and remove roles where necessary. Okay, so deactivating users in PCSE Online then. So we do recommend that you deactivate any users that have left your organisation or they no longer require access to PCSE Online as soon as possible. Now, any leavers who move to similar organisations will most likely use the same email address because they're using their NHS email address. And it is important that you remove their access to your organisation as soon as possible. Now, the main reason for that is because PCSE Online is accessible from any device that's connected to the internet. So say, for example, you've got a colleague that's left the practice, they're moving towns and they're going to be working at a different practice. If you don't deactivate them from your practice, when they log into PCSE Online at the new practice, chances are they're going to see all the details still in PCSE Online for your practice, which they don't want. It's confidential information and they shouldn't have access to that anymore because they'll be working at a different practice. And I suppose the same goes if you've got somebody that's on long-term sick or if they're going off on maternity, you don't really need them to have access while they're at home. So ideally, what we recommend is deactivate that user until they're ready to come back to work. And like I mentioned before, you can do that through the update user. So you just edit your user, you'll pull up the details as I've shown you once you've searched for the name, and then you can go in and add the roles back into their account, and then that will reactivate their account for them. So I'll just quickly show you what the deactivate user slide looks like. So again, it's through the user management side of things. And then you will select the deactivate user, which is just in the grey header at the top that I've highlighted in green. And in this section, what you'll need to do is search for your user. So if you put the first name and last name in there and then select deactivate user, you'll get a pop-up just whether you want to confirm. So you can click OK to continue with the deactivation, or you can click cancel and then that will cancel your action. Now, if you do deactivate an account by mistake, don't worry, it's okay. Just as I mentioned about reactivating an account, you can just do it like that. So head over to search for user, put their details in, bring that up, and then you'll just be able to add the roles again as you would do if you wanted to reactivate an account from someone that's been off for a while. Okay, so that is all I wanted to run through with you for user management in PCSE Online. Now, I do appreciate I don't go into too much depth about it. However, we do have a wealth of information on the PCSE website. We've also got small user guide videos on the YouTube channel. We've got user guides and lots of information available on the PCSE website. So if you're not sure, please do have a look. Okay, so I'm going to take a little break, just to pause to see if there's any questions or if there's anything that Marie would want to run through with you with regards to user management.
Due to there just being an audit of the users that are linked to your organisation. So we understand that if there is users though that shouldn't be linked to your practice, if you can just send us a screenshot of that to the portal inquiries email, we can have a look further for you. And also when you're linking users to your organisation that already have an existing PCSE Online account, you just have to untick the box that says My Organisation Only. Once you untick that box, you'll then find that user and be able to link them to your organisation.